Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lisa Albanowski. I'm a associate broker with Signature Premier Realty here in Sayville. I work across Long Island, and I have the privilege of interviewing Nicole Gagnon today, who is not only a teacher, but an assistant principal in a wonderful charter school in New York City. I'll introduce her and she can speak about it. Nicole, hi, thank you for joining me. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Nicole, I certainly would like you to give me your take on what are some of the changes that you've seen in teaching?
Well, quite a few, especially since the pandemic. We've seen a big change in just meeting the kids where they are. So many kids still to this day are being affected by the pandemic and by COVID, and we are constantly just trying to give them the supports that they need while they're at home. So really, providing them an opportunity to get the resources that they need online. We use Google Classroom a lot and post assignments and resources. We very often Zoom with the kids when they're home and their families to give them supports. And then outside of the pandemic, I think technology itself has really changed teaching in general. I think this is my 21st year in education. And I think from 20 years ago until now, keeping kids engaged is a little bit more difficult. They're used to that fast-paced video game and technology and social media. And so I think just really keeping things moving and engaged has definitely become a little bit more challenging than it was when I first started.
So you are teaching the 7th grade level at this point, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And that's considered what, middle school, junior high school in your world?
Yep. Middle school.
Yep. So when you talk about technology, I think to
Mhm.
myself, when I see my grandkids, they're not anywhere without their phones. So when you say technology, are they allowed to bring the phones into the classroom? Are there rules for that?
So we collect phones in the morning, and we hold on to them until their last period class, and then they get them back. So no, they do not. But each student has a school issued computer that they do use in their classes. But our technology staff member does block some of the different social media accounts that they would be able to get on at home. They're not able to in school.
So you're doing a hybrid, from what I'm understanding. Part of
Mhm.
the students you're open and you're in New York City, right?
Yep.
So this classroom is filled with a combination of, tell me how it works.
Um, it's mostly in-person learning, but teachers do give them different assignments online throughout the day. It could be just different web quests and things like that, just to kind of mix it up a little bit so that they do get to use technology and they do engage with one another through different games or things like that. And then again, like I said before, when the kids are home, because we do have students still affected by the pandemic, we are able to post that online for them as well.
So if they're not in school that day, they can do the work
Yep.
and they're
Mhm.
not counted as absent.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
it's like present out, so they're not in school, but they're able to complete the work at home.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So technology's really helped in a lot of ways. We've had no choice. I mean, look at us. We're
Yep.
doing an interview on a Zoom, right? Who
Right.
ever thought of that before the pandemic, right?
Yep.
We did that in meetings in corporate, right? But this is amazing and it's really
Yeah.
awesome. And I think, and I know it's here to stay in every level, and that's great.
Yeah.
right? Good and bad and everything, right?
Yeah. Even next week, we have our first parent teacher conference of this year, that we're supposed to be in person, but we've seen a pretty good increase and uptick in our school recently. And so we've decided to go Zoom for our first conferences. So even with the
Uptick,
families.
uptick with the virus again.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And winter months, I guess, will bring that anyway now.
Yeah.
What changes do you want to see in the education system, if any?
You know, and I think there has been some improvement, but I hope that it will continue. I feel like for some years there was a great emphasis on testing and test scores, and that's really all you heard. And how schools, and especially charter schools, were able to stay open. It's based on your scores. Just more of an emphasis on critical thinking and engagement and getting the kids really interested in learning and exploring. And I definitely think there has been improvement. But I think that balance is just super important.
So can you tell me, do you have like a most positive teaching experience that you'd like to share?
I think just kids from like 20 years, 10, 15, 20 years ago coming back and reaching out through social media, them finding you and wanting to share where they are and how they've done, is really rewarding for them to still think about you and want to share their successes. I think is probably the best part of teaching.
That's great. You
Yeah.
made a difference in someone's life then, if they're reaching out to you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like special. That's a feeling that you never lose, right?
I
That's
just
great.
actually last week had a student from about probably 12 years ago found me through like my personal Facebook and sent me a message and wanting to know how I was and kind of fill me in on what he was doing. And it's that's pretty special.
That's great. So
Yeah.
that tells me
Mhm.
that you really care about what you do, right? And it rewards you personally to help a child grow up and then want to reach out again, knowing that you had an impact on their life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you said charter school, and I should have just made a point about speaking to that. Can you explain what a charter school is and how it's different than a public school?
Well, charter schools are actually still publicly funded, but they are sponsored through a board, and also either a state system or a city system. But they do still receive like public funding, and often whether they stay open or not is based, like I said before, on test scores. And so that is something that is a challenge. We often have much smaller class sizes. So all of our classes are ICT classes, which means that we have a general education and a special education teacher in every single class. And then our middle school classes have no more than 15 kids in them. So we really focus on individualized instruction and small grouping, which is nice.
So more one-on-one kind of
Yeah.
education. And in the charter school that you work for, um, do you have, you said middle school, what level, what grades does it go from?
Our school is K through 8.
K through 8.
Mhm.
Got it. And what's considered the middle school?
6 through 8.
6 through 8.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Every school district has a different
Yes.
take on that, right?
Yeah.
Configuration. So based upon your experience and your teaching, what qualities do you have that an excellent teacher needs? What would you share?
I think most important is a mutual respect. I think often we say the kids need to respect us, but we need to respect them also, and meet them where they are and understand um, who they are and where they're coming from. A lot of kids come in and have a lot of baggage from home. And I think just showing them that you care is most important, and really being genuine and letting them know that you're there for them is key, because if they don't know and believe that, then you'll have a difficult time teaching them actual content. So I think that's most important, just a mutual respect and care for the kids.
Nice,
Mhm.
nice. Um, you know, stereotypes are typed, if you will, with every profession, right? I'm in real estate, so people think about sales, oh, just another salesperson, right? So what about teachers? Is there a stereotype that you think that people assume?
Um, I think for teachers, it's usually, oh, we're just in it for the summers off and the vacations. And um, I I think the complete opposite. We're definitely not in it for the paycheck. I think if anybody really looks into teaching and compares it to other occupations for the amount of schooling and um, that teachers are required to have and keep up over the years. We're definitely not in it for the paycheck. I think that teachers really are there to serve kids and families. Um, but I think a lot of people think that it's for the summers off. And um, if you count the amount of hours that teachers put in throughout the school year on their own time outside of school, and the amount of work that they bring home, it probably balances out, if not more than those couple of months off.
Interesting,
Yeah.
and not in my world do I ever think about that, but again, that's why I'm asking these questions. And teachers are a big sense of the community.
Mhm.
You serve, as you said, and you're there with children more than they are home sometimes, or the parents are with them,
Right.
right? And so you really serve the community to help shape and guide them, right?
Yeah. And parents, actually, what you just said, parents say that all the time. You're with my kid in their waking hours more than I am. So you tell me, they'll say. um,
It's
yeah.
a big responsibility, right?
Yeah.
It really is. Yep.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to become a teacher?
I know it probably sounds like what most say, but it's just always what I wanted. Even as a kid, I was just always the teacher when my sister and I played. And um, I just, there was nothing that I ever thought of doing other than that.
Interesting. So it's
Yeah.
sort of like an inert thing that you
Yeah.
you felt as a kid growing up.
Yeah. And
That's very
even,
cool.
yeah, even as a teenager, I would babysit all the time. I just was always around kids.
And
Yeah.
I guess you just have a passion for helping them and
Yeah.
wanting to give them information and keep them safe.
Mhm. And I always thought elementary. And then my first position was as a middle school teacher. Um, and now I can't imagine anything different. Um, they're definitely an age group that um, needs to know that there's somebody there for them outside of just like the academics, that can help them just to be good people, and can be somebody outside of their family, to just listen to them. So I can't even imagine anything besides middle school now, which I never imagined when I started.
Well, I really just want to say thank you for what you do, first
Thank
of all,
you.
because without teachers, what would our kids be? And dedicated teachers and teachers like you who really have a passion and followed your dream, which is really awesome,
Thank
right?
you.
So many people are not happy with their profession, they're in it, but obviously it's a passion of yours and it shows, and that's awesome. And I really appreciate your time, Nicole, and thank you so much for sharing. And I will say thank you again. And I'm Lisa Albanowski. I'm with Signature Premier Real Estate here on Long Island. And if you need anything, I'm here to help. And Nicole, thanks again. Enjoy. Happy Thanksgiving. And I want you to stay well and
Thank
safe.
you. Thank you, you as well.
Thank you.